All right, let's draw for turn. We're here to bring you Commander Insight and Hot Tech to level up your game. Each episode focuses on a different topic with our 4-person pod. We give you all our spicy take. Unfortunately, today, missing Swazzle, but it's been 3 weeks because we were all kind of up to stuff the last week. What's new, friends? What's going on? How you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. I haven't. I got to play my first in-person Magic in a while. We were all vaccinated, I'll have you know, and we didn't play Commander though. But we played our little $30 LGS Legacy format, which was fun. I missed out on Commander last week because I didn't have my camera, and then I don't remember what happened the week before. I think I played a game. Yeah, I played a game. I think I played a game. Yeah, I played a game with Hapatra. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I am, now that Strixhaven's out, I'm currently in the works on 3 decks, so, also, those of you who have played against me will be happy to know Joy Weatherlight Captain is no more. The consensus of playing against Joy was, hey, that deck's pretty cool. Please never let me play against this again.
That's, that's par for the course.
Yeah,
most
true,
people who play against Joyer at some point will say that.
Yeah.
But that's what I've been up to. How about you, EK?
Honestly, continuing my tear of playing more Magic than ever. Played with Unicorn Fluff the other night, that was last weekend. Yeah, that was last weekend. That game was insane. That'll get up on YouTube in the near future. But I played with her. I played again with her and Andy from Scrap Trawlers the other night, and that was a ton of fun. And then I like I was talking about before the show, I played a little bit over webcam with some other like real life friends of mine, and we'll talk about it because we went out of our way to play a lot of new Strixhaven cards.
Nice.
Just for this show, just so that I could have like a better basis to have more first impressions, and that was really, really exciting. I was really happy with what I saw.
That's pretty pog. I mean, I think I'm in kind of the same boat. What we did a pre-con battle on Friday night. Everybody brought a new pre-con from Strixhaven in and jammed it out. There were no changes and everything, and those decks, honestly, out of all the precons I've ever played, are good. They're good.
It's almost like they had Sheldon Menery build the decks for them.
Almost.
He actually did
I know.
build. He built some of the decks and like designed some of the cards.
But like, they had the right commander aspect in. The decks had strategy. They had ramp. There was removal. They did their job. They were effective. Mine's desired for 54. In a precon.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It was fun.
That's a lot even by constructed standards.
Yeah, like in a normal commander game, that is typically all you're ever going to need ever.
Yeah, I love it. If you're looking to get a precon deck, buy the Strixhaven ones because they are A+.
I honestly don't see them being cheap for very much longer. People have kind of realized that they are good. So like the standard I've seen is like $42, $42 at the lowest for any of them. I don't think that's going to last much longer.
No, honestly, I think it's going to go up. Some of the value of some of those specific to the Commander product cards in there are just, I don't want to say they're insane, but they are strong quality cards, and that's their only printing. And that's going to drive up the value of the precon.
They are in the collector boosters. And
that's true.
There is always a commander spot in the collector boosters, so that helps a lot.
It does, and that's also different printings
you're not
as well.
wrong. Yeah,
because you can get the extended art versions of some of the commander cards, which gives you an alternate way to get something kind of fancy.
It's funny because some of those, I don't know, like people were going crazy for Archaeomancer's map, which we'll inevitably talk about later.
For sure.
But the extended art version is half the price of the regular version.
Really?
Because the collector boosters have been getting open to Kingdom Come.
That makes sense.
I mean, I didn't open any. Oh, I won a game of baseball finally against Sean.
That's true.
Yeah, speaking of opening things, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, in a format I brought to light 8 for Sean, I have beaten him in it, finally.
It took to the third game. Extra help of a combatant was brought in. It was an epic battle down. It was really close up till the end. Like we were neck and neck for a large part of it.
Yeah, it was a good round of baseball.
It was, and I think what my the challenge that has been prescribed to me now upon my loss is 5-color deck using only an alternate win con to win. So something like happily ever after, things along those regards.
5-color Etrata, make it happen.
I could be interesting.
Strixhaven, no, that's just so easy because you just like play Najila and then Strixhaven Stadium.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Would that count as an alternate win con?
Technically, yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. I have Strixhaven Stadium. I have wanted to make a Najila deck. This could be my excuse to do it. Thank you, EK.
That's what I had in mind, but okay.
It is technically within the parameter. It's just the kind of like scammy way.
It's walking the fence line.
Fulfilling it. Yeah. Oh, 100%.
But anyways, I think that's what's been up for the last 2 weeks. Do we have any news on the stack today?
In the world of Commander, no, but we have some show news, I think.
Yeah.
Right? EK, why don't you? I think EK should get the honors to do this. We have a bit of a reveal here.
Yeah.
So in the time between this show and the last show, we have not only commissioned but gotten it back. We got a piece of art done by Adriano, the artist of Magic or MTG Goldfish fame, to do a playmat for us, which the four of us have ordered our playmats, and then I've ordered literally a dozen playmats for like a bunch of our different friends and stuff like that, just as like a exclusive pre-sale kind of hype thing. But we are working on making those available to the public in the near future through Inked, because we just have a lot of love for how great quality their products are in the past that we've experienced, and like our friends have just said so many good things. So that's happening soon. You guys will know more when we know more. I'm just waiting for the approval to be able to put it on their site.
So, all right. Fancy playmat coming your way.
Yeah, if you've ever wanted to play a game with us all the time, you can own us on a playmat.
Yeah.
If conventions resume, we will sign your playmat gratis.
Damn,
yeah,
Skippy.
We got to work on making cool signatures, but
that's only going to happen if everyone does their part. So you guys know what you got to do if you want to have conventions again.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're celebrating 1 year as a podcast, as a Discord server, as a community, and everything like that in 3 weeks. So we figured that this would be a fun way of commemorating such a thing, because we never expected anything that we did to get this big and this crazy.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe what we kind of did was like, hey, let's finally do this thing we've been talking about for half a year, and we did it.
Yeah. We're going to be stuck inside under quarantine for the next God knows how long. Let's be productive with it.
I'd like to think we were productive, but yeah.
I would agree. Yeah, that's the news. Be on the lookout for more information.
Here you go.
All right. So yeah, this week and this episode's topic, Strixhaven first impressions. So as of last Friday, April 23rd, Strixhaven School of Mages has been released. All the products have been released: Commander decks, draft boosters, set boosters, clutter boosters. The set features a lot of spell slinging shenanigans of the Wizards of a College of Mages, similar to some other kind of franchise you may have heard of. Also features what's called their showcase kind of like their showcase block of cards called the Mystical Archive, which is a bunch of instants and sorcery spells over the history of Magic, but printed with different art, like special art.
Yeah, it's special art, special frame, special foiling treatment if it's etched. It's fancy.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started about that.
I know.
That's like one of the big. My first impression of that was it's a huge disappointment. I will say that.
Well, anyway, so
frank.
we've as professionals, well, no one pays on a Magic the Gathering podcast. We have reviewed and played with some of the Strixhaven cards, and we wanted to give you our thoughts on some of our favorites, some of our questions or something that we thought was a bit maybe we're not sure why they made the decision, or we thought something was underwhelming. But so
this is a more productive way of saying, doing like these impressions or like evaluations, like these are the best cards in the set. Well, we've actually played with the cards, so we have experience.
So coming to the show, I did have a good thought, and I'm holding up this precon here. It's Lorehold precon. So this is probably like a hot take, and maybe this could be controversial. This for Commander, Strixhaven is both imperfect and perfect at the same time, and I'll explain what that means. So the standard set, not involving any of the cards from the Commander precons. Because obviously Commander precons are designed with Commander in mind. The standard set, I didn't feel it was really had a lot of stuff that was designed with Commander in mind, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
I think that's where you want to be.
Yeah,
because there's been this kind of stigma that Magic sets are getting built around, standard sets are getting built around Commander because Commander's the most popular format. So you see a lot of push Commander cards, especially in certain colors, blue, green.
Omnath.
You had Omnath. You had there had to be one at Kaldheim, right?
Korvold.
Korvold card. Yeah.
I guess
Korvold.
Kaldheim would be either Valky or Goldspan Dragon. Those are the two hot things that are really seeing them play. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think it's a good spot to be in because, I don't mind buying for a Commander player, you shouldn't have no interest in the set. There's enough stuff to keep you interested, but it's not Commander hit after Commander hit after Commander hit with no impact on standard whatsoever.
I think there's a nuance to that where it's not. It's not that the cards are bad for Commander. It's you have to put in some work. You have to do some homework. You have to do some thinking. It's not just like a Smothering Tide level card, which is that goes in Commander, and that's Strixhaven doesn't have a density of cards that are like that. They have a lot of really good cards, a lot of really, really good cards.
They don't even
have to, you have to work. You have to. They don't even really have
They don't even really have any push commanders either in the standard set.
No, I think the only
commanders I wouldn't say.
Well, if we're talking Commander, the only thing I would say that's kind of quote unquote pushed would maybe be the Elder Dragons. I know that's biased coming from me, but the effects.
Though you think about it this way, they are Elder Dragons, Elder Dragon Highlander, that kind of thing. It makes sense.
It does. I'm not going to say the Elder Dragons are pushed, but I will say, as a Commander, how they stand out. These are impactful cards that a deck can be focused and built around. Right? I think that's what makes those stand out. They're good in their own sense and limited, and they are playable and constructed, but as let's look at Beladros Witherbloom. That is a 7-drop commander, pay 10 life on top of your lands in a format where we have 40 life. There's a great ability on a commander with those colors.
The one that I've seen put in work is Velomachus Lorehold.
Yeah.
But you and I have been
ones too.
Sean and I have been gushing over since last Wednesday, I want to say. To build a quote-unquote good Velomachus Lorehold deck, you have to be okay with being mean.
Yep.
Of course.
Because inherently, it wants you getting free extra combats. It wants you getting free Cataclysms. It wants you getting free Armageddons, stuff like that.
Yeah, it wants value. You want your only thing to be Velomachus and to continually cycle through your deck, cast stuff, and that's all you do. That's it. Yeah. And it works.
Yes.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, but like the Witherbloom deck, my one friend played Witherbloom. It was insane. It was like this really cool like sacrifice life gain sort of thing. You know, they played like the Sanguine Blood, Sanguine Bond, Explicit Blood combo, and that was like pretty nuts. So building that around a shell of like good green cards was awesome to see. Adam, you got your wish. My one friend actually built their Prismari Elder Dragon deck like Is It Urza.
Ooh. Oh, you know, I made a whole big stink about that. I'm like, oh wait, the mana is only for instants and sorceries. So
think about Is It Urza, but instead of artifacts, it's instants and sorceries. Which like you're in Is It, so like you want to be doing that anyways.
Oh,
yeah.
They basically played it like Is It Urza Storm.
Yeah. So on that topic, like I gotta say, like the 4 of the 5 colleges to me knocked it out of the park as far as like unique design. Prismari did not do that.
I would have to argue on that. I think Prismari does stand out. I think Prismari presents itself in a different light of how it is. It's instants and sorceries in an expressive way, and is secretly Storm in a different format with Magecraft. It's responsible Storm.
Hey EK, yes, what do you think of Is It? What kind of deck types come to mind?
Artifacts, Storm.
Oh, okay, you can stop right there. So there you go. Yeah, so it's. I think it, like with the direction of Is It / Prismari, they could have made a more unique decision.
But I mean, okay, let me turn this back around on you. So the Witherbloom, they like did this whole life gain thing, but like, what's the most efficient way to leverage the themes of Witherbloom? You're still playing sacrifice. You're still playing ramp. You're still playing sort of like graveyardy loopy sort of things.
Yeah, but green-black was never necessarily known as a life gain color color pair. You know what I mean?
No, but like all they did was say, this is your typical strategy for green-black. Here's a ever so slightly different payoff.
Yeah,
you're still gonna play the same bedrock. Your end result. End goal that you're playing for is just ever so slightly different, and I think Prismari is the same way, and I think even Lorehold is the same way.
I would agree with that.
And people are saying the Lorehold is probably the most extreme in terms of difference.
Oh yeah,
hugely.
Yeah, because Boros is known for 2 things: hitting people and I guess hitting people.
But like if you think about it this way. They've always had like a ton of recursion. They've always had a ton of this, a ton of that. The difference is now they've just given them a little bit more incremental value while they're playing that plan that they normally didn't have.
Yeah, I mean, look at White's recursion naturally. It has a decent chunk of artifact recursion already.
And the past couple of years have especially doubled down on that.
They just kind of honed in on a strategy, and like I feel like with Prismari, they did the same too, because I'll be honest, like, while like a Storm is in essence an Is It thing, the Magecraft ability for how they put the focus on Prismari actually does feel different, right?
It's you don't have to go all in to get the payoff. You just have to, they've given a Storm deck away, or a Stormish archetype a way to get incremental value that they normally wouldn't get. And I think at the bedrock, this set is just all about incremental value rather than the end result. You have to get to the end result to get all the payoff otherwise. Whereas now I can just play my game, and as I'm playing my game, I'm just getting progressively more and more stuff.
Yeah, like I would say, like I'll use for example the one key card that really stuck out to me from the Prismari precon, Surge to Victory. Like this is a combat card that casts copies of an instant or sorcery when your creatures do combat damage. So you exile target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Creatures you control get +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is that card's mana value. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player this turn, copy the exile card. You may cast that copy without paying its mana cost. Like, this is a combat trick in order to get copies of value cards in your graveyard.
So you mean like the time stretch that you pitched to your Faithless looting?
More or less, or like the Mind's Desire I pitched to a Faithless Looting.
Yeah.
That's how I Mind's Desired for 54. Like it's
Okay, suddenly more things make sense.
Yes.
Within the context of like just running a precon.
Yeah. I just I just thought like overall Prismari just felt like another is it pile basically. Like the more I look at it, I'm like, I'm not really super zazzed about all these like this like group of cards just because like I play with this already kind of thing, you know.
That's kind of how I hate to say it. That's how I felt about the Silverquill.
I feel like their politics aspect, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like white, black, or in Warzone. White black adjacent decks have they've always had that. But like again, it gets back to they've just expanded upon the bedrock of the of that two color strategy.
Yeah, they have the token thing too, so that's always nifty.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have my favorite card from all the Commander precons, that Arachnogenesis that makes a bunch of Inklings.
Oh yeah, it's utterly
Shield?
disgustingly stupid. It's so good.
Like people don't like. It basically does the same thing as Arachnogenesis, except you get a bunch of 2/1s.
They're flyers too.
Yeah, is that the ink
crazier.
shield? Like you prevent all the damage, you make the 2/1s when you.
You fog the combat and you make a bunch of 2/1s. Like I'll just put it this way, like. You don't see Arachnogenesis a lot, and I'm only convinced that like that's only because there's not a lot of people have it.
Because it was only in the one precon, and that year that precon came out, those precons didn't really sell that well.
No, they didn't.
So these are like
now you
people
have
are just sitting on the sealed product.
Yeah, but now
they're out there.
Yeah.
So like cracking back with a bunch of like 2/1 flyers is a lot more threatening than having a bunch of 1/2 reachers that can hold up for a turn.
I mean, the evasion alone is worth the price of admission, and that's really, especially since you're in colors that are going to be antheming, or now I just have a ton of fodder for sacrifice loops and stuff like that. Like, someone goes to try and Voltron me out, play Ink Shield, suddenly I have 21 2/1s, like 2/1 flyers.
Now you're
dead. Between the combat damage that those produce and then like one sacrifice outlet and then a payoff, that's a dead table because of one card.
I mean, I just really liked Arachnogenesis, and I'm like, wait, this is Arachnogenesis, but I actually get like relevant beaters.
Yeah.
I thought that other hot takes. So they have like there's a bunch of cycles in this set. So like, the first one is probably the commands. Like, and some of them are decent. Most of them, I would say, like, they have their spots. I don't think they're like extremely good, but they're good enough.
We all went when I played my quote unquote test game with friends. We all went out of our way to like run all of the commands we possibly could, and I would say maybe 60% of the time it's kind of just like that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right.
They're not in the same league as like Austere Command and Primal Command and Cryptic Command and stuff like that, but I think that's okay.
Yeah. It feels like they're kind of like they're meant to be a cycle of value that could be there when used.
They're utility cards rather than like must run cards, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. It gives you variance.
I like that this whole set just feels like they pushed completely away from telling people to run staples. I think that's good. Like I genuinely do.
So I think there's that cycle. Then they finish that land cycle where you have to reveal one of the other in your hand
from Innistrad.
Those are fine. Like I'm not like writing home about them, but like I can see them making their way into 2-color decks.
Can I put my tinfoil hat on real quick?
Sure.
So I think they chose to finish that cycle in particular because later in the year we're going back to Innistrad and they're going to reprint the other half.
Yeah. Well, no one's clamoring for like the other half of the cycle. I'm aware
they're
of.
not, and that's why I think they're okay to reprint into standard.
Wait, are we saying like the other half of the missing colleges per se?
No. I just mean like
the show lands.
Oh the show
lands.
lands.
Those were in Shadows over Innistrad, if I remember correctly. because that's like Port Town and
fortified villages one I use.
Yeah, you get the idea. But those were printed in Innistrad, and we're going back to Innistrad.
Right.
So I could see them reprinting the other half when we go back to Innistrad, just to have a full, because excuse me, I'm stumbling over words because I have so many passionate thoughts. They've been going out of their way to like complete cycles and be very implicit about completing cycles.
Well, I mean,
so they wouldn't just randomly print a random half that they didn't finish into standard without going back and putting the other half in and making it feel natural.
Yeah, I would think that would make sense. I mean, like I said, they did that exactly with the pathways. We had 6 out of 10. They gave us the other 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the pathways have been revolutionary for standard and historic and stuff like that. But like, I don't think those show lands are going to be breaking any barriers if they were reprinted, and that's why I think they will reprint them. Yeah,
like, I mean, my impression of the show land is like I don't hate them. I'm not a big fan of them.
I'm glad they exist. I run them in the decks that can if I'm running 2-color, just because it's a dual land.
They're a good budgetary alternative if you can't get your hand on other things. And the piece of hand information you're giving is maybe not that big a deal.
Oh, here's a land. Because you play that basic the next turn, suddenly all that information's gone.
Exactly. And like,
worst case,
yeah, or like worst case, play like a Snarl turn 1. Whoop-de-doo, you don't reveal anything. Okay, it's tapped. Not the biggest deal on some turn 1 plays.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
So then the other cycles. So I think we all can agree the Elder Dragon cycle is really good. So we can move on from there.
Yeah, I would agree.
Let's talk about the Deans. So the Deans, I think, are like pretty bad as commanders, but really good in the 99.
It's funny you say that because I actually saw the Prismari one do absolute work over the weekend.
What, the Jin and Nefrit one?
Yeah, that card was sick.
What does it do again? The one side is like you get drawn a body, the other's copying?
Here, I will pull it up for you right now. Meet the Deans of Strixhaven. I also know that people are really high on the Boros one for multiple formats, actually.
That's the fourth one.
So the Prismari one, Uvilda and Nasari. So Uvilda is a 3-mana 2/2. Tap, you make exile an instant or sorcery card from your hand and put 3 hone counters on it. It gains at the beginning of your upkeep. If this card is exiled, remove a hone counter from it. And when the last hone counter is removed from this card, if it's exiled, you may cast it. It costs 4 less to cast this way. So it's basically like
it's like suspend, but not really.
It's kind of suspend. And then Nasari says, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until the end of turn, you may cast spells from among those exiled cards, and you may spend mana as though it were any color to cast those spells. And it's a 4/4 for 3 and 2 red.
Ooh, that's good stats for that.
Yeah, it's 5 mana 4/4, so like already like kind of premium stats.
Yeah,
but you're basically like budget Itali.
Yeah, because you don't even have to attack. It's just the beginning of your upkeep.
And here's the other thing too. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, put a +1/+1 counter on Nasari.
Yeah, so he's basically like buffing himself for every spell you're casting.
Yep.
So permanent prowess, more or less.
Except it's permanent. But the big thing
and
it's just like at the end of the day, it is resource denial.
Right.
You're denying 3 cards from your opponents, and if it's out on the and this is where I saw it be extremely effective. It essentially shuts down tutors. You can't play an enlightened tutor, a vampiric tutor, that kind of stuff into it because my upkeep. Well, I'm gonna exile the card that you tutored for.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be very selective about when you're going to try and do that tutor.
Exactly.
Can't do it off turn. It'd have to be at the end of the opponent's turn before yours.
Yep.
A mistimed tutor costs you.
And you guys know how I feel. constricting the decisions of your opponents is of a benefit at the end of the day. In the long run, you want to minimize the amount of decisions your opponent is able to make.
I think if we want to touch on that topic really quick, I think there's one white card that really sticks out for that. The Elite Spellbinder.
Oh yeah.
That thing is a house.
I've seen it be really good in like the 60 card 1v1 formats. I don't have an opinion on it for Commander yet.
I've heard talk of it with Commander, and it's still the fact it's hand knowledge from your opponent, and even when the Elite Spellbinder is killed, the card still remains in exile at the tax cost. So you're getting an effective body and evasion and information, and removing a card and taxing it up.
So where I saw it talked about was Winota.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's Human Cleric. Yeah.
It's a human, so you can cheat it in, and it's a flyer, if I remember correctly, as well.
It is, yeah.
So, I mean, evasion in a Boros combat deck with bears is premium.
I don't think you could ask for better, but that's like one card on the sort of taxing side that I've been very impressed with.
Speaking of taxes, I know this has been like really hot button. What do you guys think about monologue tax?
Not very good.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. It's just not like everyone's like, oh my god, it's coming. It's not.
Okay, so we're on the same page. Is what it's sounding like.
Yeah.
I saw it immediately, and I was honestly pretty low on it.
Okay, so like,
this is them learning. It's literally them saying Smothering Tithe was a mistake. That's what that card tells me.
It's like, okay, like what's the difference between this and Smothering Tithe? Well, you can get multiple Smothering Tithe triggers in a turn. This you can only get one.
This like maybe pays for itself in a rotation, where Smothering Tithe is like.
If you've Arcane Laboratory'd everyone anyway, like it's not the worst, but you're not getting any treasure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring up a comment from the chat. So Harding is saying, well, Smothering Tithe was a mistake. Yes, it is, and they openly admit it.
Yeah.
I mean, it should have been a white card. It definitely should have been a white card if that's what you're talking about. But no, Smothering Tithe is like.
Smothering Tithe is an edge case in most scenarios.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's like, well, isn't Ristic Study? Well, Ristic Study existed in a time where Commander wasn't a thing.
Yeah, I mean, think about it this way: Ristic Study came out in the 90s.
Yep.
Yeah,
Commander was nowhere remotely close to ever being a concept.
Exactly, it was a twinkle in the judge's eyes. So. To compare it like Smothering Tithe and Ristic Study is unfair. Like when Ristic Study got printed, they knew about Commander. Whether they decided like this is fine to print anyway, we know that this will definitely get into Commander. Like you should still print some cards that can see Commander playability. Like I think.
And the other thing to think about is there are a lot of people who they don't play at like the grease level that maybe we tend towards. Like they're the type of people, they're just binder tribal, like bulk box tribal, and stuff like kitchen table at its purest form.
Sure.
Where a card like that might be good, and I'm glad it exists.
I mean, I'm not saying monologue tax is bad. It's definitely not bad.
It was definitely overhyped, and I think the second that Pleasant Kenobi said what he said, people were like, "Yeah, you're right."
Like honestly, like if you want a card that's like hyped appropriately and white, Scholarship sponsors like way better.
I do like.
I know it's apples and oranges because they're not the same. They don't provide the same function. But at the same, like I mean, they kind of do because like they kind of slow down the tempo of the game a bit. Because like one says you can only play if you're gonna play more than one side, you have to pay me for it.
Yeah.
The other one says if you're gonna activate it, if you're gonna trigger any abilities, you're gonna have to pay for it.
For those of you who don't know what Scholarship Sponsor is, it is 3 and a white for a 3/3 human advisor. When enters the battlefield, each player who controls fewer lands than the player who controls the most lands search their library for a number of basic lands less than or equal to the difference
Oh, that's not the card I'm thinking of then. What's the card I'm thinking of then? The one that's it's a white card and it puts a tax on everyone, opponents doing a certain thing. So they have to pay 2 or
that's not a white card. That's colorless. That's Wandering Archaic.
Yeah, that's Wandering Archaic.
Oh, I thought there was a white card that did that too.
He's colorless.
No, it's colorless. I've just been preaching that white should be running it in almost every deck.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good card anyway. So
it is, but like especially in white.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wandering Archaic basically taxes your opponents in a way that says
for playing anything.
For playing any non-creature spell.
Yes.
No, instant and sorcery.
Any instant or sorcery. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like, do you want are you sure you want to would you really want to play that Fact or Fiction? Because that's gonna cost you 2 more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I played a game with CNC Power Hour and Casual Jake and Coach J-Ro from the Unsummoned Skull YouTube or Twitch channel. And it was like pre-release weekend, and I was like, "Hey guys, is it cool if I play some Strixhaven cards? Like, I got a pre-release kit, and I open these cards up, and yeah, definitely, let's do it." And one of those cards was Wandering Archaic, and I had no idea how absurd it would be to the point where Wandering Archaic was arguably my commander.
Okay, this wasn't the card I was talking about. The card I meant, and not Scotch was Strict Proctor.
Oh, that card! I like that card a lot.
Yeah, that card is. I think that card's nutty.
It's another Thalia.
Yeah.
Well,
sorry. It's
it's
another
taxing.
Tocatli Honor Guard. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
It's the same stat line except it's a flyer.
I feel like it's kind of like a Hushbringer with a tax on it.
Yeah, and people love their triggered ability, and people in Commander use a lot of triggered abilities.
I mean, think about how popular something like Yarok is, or
or just I don't know,
how many people play Great Henge or Guardian Project and cards like that.
Okay, I cast a spell with this thing out, and you have Rhystic Study out. Now you have to pay 2 to Rhystic Study me.
Yeah. It's I don't pay the 1. Do you pay the 2?
I mean, I think it's pretty solid, honestly.
Yeah.
This is the card I definitely want to get a few copies of.
It's funny because this is another one of those cards that I want to play in Winota because it's a relevant hate bear and it triggers her.
Yeah.
It's inevitable that half of the cards that we're going to bring up this show is yeah, that's a great Winota card because
they are great Winota cards.
I don't want to go out on a limb and say this, but I think Boros was inadvertently a huge winner of this set.
I think they got a ton of stuff that really pushes that
it's by design. They said it was coming. It's just not the sort of winning that everyone maybe wanted, but they were a huge winner.
Yeah. So other stuff. So I think so the Mystical Archive is the other big thing that was in this set. And I think this is a good thing.
It's pure just reprint equity.
Yeah,
it's
really is what it boils down to.
I'm not gonna say every single reprint in the Mystical Archives is winner. No. Nobody's really asking for, I don't know, Agonizing Remorse or something. No one really wants to. No one's really clamoring for that card. We have plenty of
them printing it that way is for other formats that aren't. Let's put it that way.
Well, I'm just saying, Agonizing Remorse just isn't a really good isn't a really good card anyway. You know what I mean?
But on the other hand, they have now printed a way, another way for us to get a better access to things like Demonic Tutor, Time Warp.
Also, I know it's really iconic, but do they need to put Channel in this? Cards, it's banned in literally every format. No one can play Channel.
I mean, they did the same thing with Iconic by putting it in Iconic Masters.
Yes.
It was and when they printed it in there.
Well, I mean, but the Iconic Masters had a draft format too, and this.
But this is the thing. Strixhaven has a draft format as well, and you can draft Channel. That's the thing.
But it wasn't as good as Iconic Masters, where you could draft Channel and Fireball in the same draft.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, and I've held this thought for quite a while, in the eyes of Wizards at this point, and I'm probably gonna ruffle some feathers by saying this, so I'm just gonna preface it this way: the most important formats to Wizards right now are Limited and Commander.
Yeah.
And it's not even close.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree with that. Because like everybody can play Limited. You need nothing.
Yes.
Right?
Limited is the epitome of like some sort of organized.
Yeah, and these are
kitchen table magic.
Yeah, and these
you
are
open
players
what you play what you open.
These are players that are spending money every week. Like you spend money to go. Like when we're gathering in person to play Limited, you have to pay to enter. You need to get packs and pay the entry.
You gotta.
Yeah, it's commitment of finances. Yep.
It's and that's just like the purely financial thing. But you think about it this way: when especially these like uncommons and commons that they print, a lot. The first thing that they will say is, this card was printed for the limited environment in mind. Like if there's a format that they go out of their way to think about, I think it's Limited more than anything.
Yeah,
because that limited is what dictates the rarities.
Well, Limited is the backbone of your game too.
That too.
Realistically,
Limited was the original intention of.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I think they never.
It always has been.
Yeah, they never. Yeah, like for those of you who don't know, back when in the very beginning of Magic, when you picked up like a starter deck, it was just an assortment of like 60 or 70 random cards and a bunch of land. Like you didn't know, like your deck probably didn't work, like you never knew what you were getting.
Like I said, it's the epitome of kitchen table magic. You just opened what you got and you played with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
figured out what happened, and you went from there.
Yeah, I think like the constructed aspect of Magic
came after. It's like, we've played. We've played at the kitchen table with what we opened.
Why don't we use these for other things? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that's where that came from. So, timeline wise, it's secondary.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like the secondary market. That's the thing, right? The main revenue from Wizards isn't the secondary market. Their main revenue is selling packs. Draft and Limited finances packs. That encourages buying packs. That sets it back.
Yeah. No, like I said, I wanted to preface that with this is like a super steamy hot take.
No, I think it's a valid take. Absolutely.
I'm glad you can at least see where I'm coming from, but
well, for sure. I mean, it's like looking at the model of the game, right? Like that's why there are different sets described out. You literally have like the draft booster box, which is for the limited environment, or you have the set booster, better sorted to specific cards or types you want to get that are themed around a strategy. Or I
believe that the selling point was for the people who don't want to draft, they just want to open things.
Yes,
you get a set booster.
Yeah. If you want to draft, you buy a draft booster. That's pretty much how it is.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
And again, I'm going to circle back to a first impression. Something that I noticed: the secondary market has taken hold of that. A draft booster is more expensive than a set booster.
Mm-hmm.
In most cases, that I've seen at least. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be a common theme moving forward.
I would think so, because that's where things are going to kind of push. That's the format that people want to get in when they go to play Limited. They're not drafting set boosters, they're drafting draft packs. So,
and what I think is interesting is you could argue that a set booster actually has better cards in it.
Yes.
Which is why the price difference is so interesting to me.
Yeah, especially when you have the option, to get cards from quote unquote the list. Things that don't exist in the standard environment.
Every pack has a foil. Every pack has an art card, which is basically an officially printed proxy by Wizards.
Yeah. And
Sean and I were talking earlier today. Like, there's no reason why you can't just take a paint pen and fancily write the name of the art card and the CMC and if it has a stat line or the type of card it is on the front side of the art card, and just sleeve it up in your commander deck.
It's a proxy.
I don't see why people shouldn't be doing that.
Absolutely,
they're beautiful.
Yeah.
It's no different. It's no different than playing like a full art Cryptic Command or like a full art Putrefy or full art. You know, you get the idea. Same idea.
It's making your own proxy out of something that has been officially printed by Wizards. I think it's a fantastic idea. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't be able to, or for it not to be endorsed.
And it's funny because I never thought about it until I saw a tweet from Mike Sod from Playing with Power today. I was like, yeah, why don't we do that?
Yeah. I think if you start doing that as well, you start opening the doors more for a more proxy-friendly environment in less unscrupulous ways of, people quote-unquote going out and buying proxies. Instead, now you're looking for
which is against the fan consent policy and everything. Like once money gets involved with proxies,
but buy an art card. Well, that's something different.
Buy an art card and a paint pen. Like I have a Velomachus Lorehold art card on my shelf over there. Like we've been talking about. I was really impressed when my friend played it the other night. It was like I kind of want to build it now.
Yeah.
So the thing as an aside, like kind of running. Do you think we're gonna stop calling these two color pairs by their Ravnica names and start calling them by their Strixhaven names? I suggest that we will not.
It's too ingrained in my head as the Ravnica names.
Yeah.
I picture you'll have two types of people. You'll have the Ravnica era, you'll have the Strixhaven era.
And that's actually an interesting point because there are a lot of new players who came in after Ravnica. They're like, they don't know these color combos as the Ravnica guilds. They know them as, the Strixhaven schools. It's the same thing with the shards and wedges. Like, the people who came in with Ikoria, they're like, this is my Ketria deck. This is my, I forget the name because I call them by the shards and wedges. Yeah, but it's the same idea.
It is, yeah.
Them only doing half in this Strixhaven, it really does tell me that I'm pretty sure in the next couple of years we're gonna go back and we're gonna get the other 5 schools.
Did they already say that there's more schools that were left out or no?
No, but I really get that impression.
I get the same.
Again, that's just solely based on they really like completing cycles and having something for everyone.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't really Yeah, but I think you can complete the cycles another way. They did that with Alara and Cons. Like when it came to the wedges, wedges.
But you get what I'm saying. So we got half of them, and we got half of the 3 color combos in Ikoria. I think in the near-ish future, we're gonna get the other 5 in something else. Like I don't know, Return to Kamigawa, please and thank you.
That would be amazing. No, I'd agree with that. I feel like it'll be done in a different way. But
the reason why I think we're gonna go back to Strixhaven is because it was so flavorful.
Yeah. By the way,
it'd be really hard to say these are these 5 schools of mages unless they balanced out the schools of mages with I don't know schools of warriors and fighters or fighting guilds or fighting cohorts or something like that.
Sure. I was gonna say, I forgot it. Oh yeah. Asterisk. If we go back to Kamigawa, please no weird creepy art. Thank you.
I was gonna just kind of tack on for the school thing too. I mean, objectively, Cons technically finished the tri-cycle in a way. Then the tri-cycle got reintroduced. But in top of that
they keep reiterating and ever so slightly going derivative of a previous version.
Yeah.
So,
but let's look at the broods of Tarkir, right? They went from 3 colors to 2 colors. Technically, the 5 broods that were in Cons are the 5 missing, quote unquote schools that were in Strixhaven here. And
I mean,
those were all headed by an
enemy allied thing. Like this was a enemy set, but like so was Guilds of Ravnica. Guilds of Ravnica was the enemy set, and then we got the allied set in Ravnica Allegiance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Low key, I'm hoping they do another like allied colored set with Elder Dragons that feel like they're better commanders, because the Elder Dragons in like in Favor Forged or
I like those.
I like them in a constructed environment, but I don't think they make amazing commanders. I mean, like Dragon Lord Atarka, the Elder Dragon form.
It's really about it.
8 mana, 5/5, deal 5 damage. Kolaghan, your creatures get haste. People play a spell with the same name as something in their graveyard, deal 10 damage. We're in a singleton format, doesn't happen.
Yeah. Dragon's Approach.
Rare niche cases.
I do think it's funny that they printed that, by the way.
I wanted to use that as a shoehorn segue, so we're kind of getting closer to time.
Yeah.
I wanted to pose this question to you guys. Adam, you have a couple decks that you want to build because of this set.
Well,
so now that we've talked about a bunch of different cards and like impressions and stuff like that, what decks do you guys want to build with this new set?
All right, that's a good start. So I currently no longer have an artifact-based deck. I was Sean's grabbing a box for those of you who are listening.
Yeah, he is.
I definitely want to build Osgear because I definitely want an artifact-based deck, and I don't own a Boros deck, so I kind of like ticks both those boxes. And that can be just like your the kind of way we like to play, like pretty powerful but not ridiculous. It
depends on it depends on the day, but yeah, I totally agree.
And then I wanted to build a pretty sweaty deck I wanted to build Rihanna Fire Dancer. And
that's like mono red copy Storm, right? Is that the right one that I'm thinking of?
It's kind of like you don't even have to you don't need to cast any spells while she's out for her to do the things she can do powerfully. For those of you who don't know, Rihanna says, beginning of combat, you choose a creature you control and you make a token copy of it with haste that exiles until end of turn, where X is makes X copies of that creature, X plus 1 copies of that, where X is the number of instant sorceries you cast this turn. So you always get 1. So if you resolve Rihanna and resolve either a Port Raiser or a Combat Celebrant, you take infinite combat steps and win the game. There's an out that I figured out. The outs are as follows. Other than the obvious ones, if all players have an indestructible blocker or a blocker with first strike, then or double strike, then you can't do the thing you do. But all opponents have to have that. Alternatively, they can just remove Rihanna at some point, or that's the double-edged swords of.
That's the double-edged sword of decks like that. You remove any one of the pieces and you fizz.
Yeah, but like so many competitive decks rely on casting their commander 1 time to win the game.
Which is why you hold up the interaction to do so.
Sure. I mean, you're in red, so you have all these like little swerve effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then my funny deck. So there's a little guy in the Strixhaven in the Witherbloom precon deck called Guillaume Masterchef. He's this little troll that makes food, and then you can sacrifice a food to give something indestructible until I turn and tap it. So my idea was Guillaume Masterchef plus 20 copies of Rat Colony, and call the deck Ratatouille. Because you're
I'd love it to be called Guillaume Ramsey.
Guillaume Ramsey. Yeah, well, these rats may make a kitchen nightmare for your opponents at some point. I think Sean's already got 5 decks done already.
I mean, all he did though was just switch out the precon commander with the dragon.
I did more than that, but yes, that is the essence of what happened.
Yeah. So Sean got a copy of all the Elder Dragons and made them the commander of the precons with some upgrades.
Yeah, I did like 5 card swap outs per deck to kind of build more into the dragon strategy. Yeah,
because I was gonna say I don't know, at least the Lorehold one in particular has nothing to do with Velomachus Lorehold and what they're trying to do.
Yeah, Lorehold was the awkward one, so I had to take out some of the stuff that was more permanent based for more spell based, but there is synergies worked in for the continual cycling of 7 cards to your deck. So I got that down. So.
Okay, that's relevant and important. So
yeah, because he's look at top 7, cast an insert sorcery, and then those go to the bottom. It's cycle 7 every time he attacks. So kind of double down on the cards that are impactful, like Faithless Looting, for example. That's a card that's going in. Faithless Looting, ditch some artifacts to the bin, to ready them back.
Sure, yeah.
So kind of
it's like it's the thing that people aren't. Oh, you put the 7, or you put the 6 of the 7 that you don't use from him on the bottom of your deck. But yeah, if you're very intentional with the spells that you're pulling from him, I could see it working pretty well.
Yep. Yeah, so that's been my project. It's pretty much done.
I haven't figured anything out for you. It's just a concept that I want to like explore. So my big deck has been building around Dragon's Approach, which is this like dare I say stupid 3 mana common. It's for mono red. It deals 3 damage each opponent. If you have like a certain amount of them in your graveyard, you get to put a dragon from your deck onto the battlefield. And I want to play it with Neheb, because if you cast,
which one?
Not
Dreadhorde General, right?
Yeah, Hour of Devastation.
Oh, is Neheb the Worthy or whatever?
I forget which Neheb that is.
Neheb Neheb the Eternal. That's what.
Oh, Neheb the Eternal. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the idea is I cast one Dragon's Approach, deal 3 to each opponent. I have done 9 damage. I go to my post-combat main phase with Neheb out. I now have 9 mana. I can now recast 3 more Dragon's Approaches.
It's really funny.
Or do some. So essentially, it is in a deck like Neheb, it's 3 mana, get 9 mana. So like all the dragons that you happen to draw, you're now able to play. Or with a card like Thrumming Stone, you're gonna have enough theoretically gonna have enough Dragon's Approaches in your entire deck that you just burn out the table right then and there. And if the table doesn't die, well, the dragons you pull from the Dragon's Approaches are certainly going to kill the table, because you're also probably going to, it's a Neheb deck, so you're going to run like extra combats like Seize the Day and Relentless Assault and just, do that sort of thing. I've never built a deck built around those cards where you can have any amount, and I wanted to do it in my sort of way. And this was the idea that I came up with.
Good idea.
I think it's a sick idea.
I also, I don't have a dragon deck either, and I kind of want one because I feel like I have to since we're friends.
Absolutely, you do. That is a requirement.
Yeah. And
there's only one dragon I'm interested in. You don't want me to build it.
Which one?
Oh, the Bellatrix Witherbloom.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good.
Why wouldn't I be okay with that? That's such a good dragon.
I don't want a 3rd Golgari deck. I'm already pushing 2 with.
I can see that, but I was also gonna say I know you've been going out of your way to try and stay kind of away from the greasy side of things.
Not with Brianna. That wasn't gonna.
But that's what. But you have an intention of doing that. You have an intention of building it greasy from the start.
Yeah, because I built that pirate deck and it's accidentally pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though I thought it was a pretty stupid idea.
Turns out stupid is great.
Yeah.
Well.
But yeah, we got a lot of deck building to do, and next set is what the D&D set. I'm actually extremely excited.
Yeah,
about.
it is.
Yeah.
Oh, we also have
Realms.
the Lord of the Rings set at some point in between. I think. as well.
Next year.
Next year. Sorry, next year.
Okay.
Is what I thought I heard.
By the way, if Morden Kanan is not a legendary in the D&D set, I'm not gonna buy it.
Okay.
It's a big deal. He's a really like well-known wizard in the D&D universe.
It's fine.
I think that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
When we first impression that set.
Oh, and Strahd. Strahd by Zarovich has to be in there too.
Fair. Maybe one time we'll do a tier list.
I feel like these two have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, I know Forgotten
I
Realms a
do.
bit.
I do.
Okay.
I do know what you're talking about, actually.
I only know a bit of Forgotten Realms lore, not a ton.
Oh, just like some of my favorite characters, just from D&D mythos, honestly.
No, I think it's all good. But what do we think? Strixhaven first impressions. Yay to the set, nay to the set.
If I were to grade it, I would say like for Commander, the Commander decks I think it's like A- for sure. Like they're not perfect, but they're really good. They're really well done. They're like and against each other, they do enough. As far as Commander cards that affect the format, there's like I think you get an A for that. Like, there's enough of those that are new cards that affect the format. From as far as what impact does the standard set has, I'd say probably B-.
I mean, I was gonna say we're not a standard show, so that grade doesn't.
Oh no,
matter.
I'm saying what cards from the standard set affect Commander. I'd say like B-. Like there's some, but not a ton. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. EK, what about you, man?
I mean, I'm gonna give an all-encompassing grade of a B+. I think there were things that I wish I saw, but at the end of the day, I'm not disappointed.
Yeah, let white draw cards.
They do. Just someone else does too.
I'm not even gonna say white needs to draw cards because they don't need to draw cards. It's just the whole, I'm very particular with what I like, and this set really. I don't want to say this set wasn't for me, but this set wasn't really a combat-based set, so.
Oh, it's definitely not. It's bad spell.
Yeah. So because of that, I have to dock some points. It's just like it wasn't centered around what I like to do, but I'm glad it exists because it still like it gave tools to augment those kinds of strategies.
Yeah,
but it wasn't the main focus. It wasn't the main focus.
Yeah, you like to put cards on the table and turn them to the left.
Yep.
I see what you did there, and you were right.
One thing that'll never change: how EK taps.
Sean, how would you grade the set?
I honestly, I'll do an overall rating. I'm A-. There is flavor, there is mechanics, there is good cards that are consistent and prove the job. There are impactful items across all different color wedges or dual colors. Each does its thing and does it good. And there's dragons. Easy.
I was gonna say like this may not have to do with the fact that there's 5 new dragons to play with.
5 new dragons, but no, like flavor-wise, I think this set is a win. I would go A-. Everything just feels good. This feels like a nice, good set.
Oh, and I'll actually give it for the Mystical Archive. I'll give that a B+ too, because there's some cards there I just don't want.
If I more relevantly factored in the Mystical Archive, I actually would have lowered my grade. I was extremely disappointed in them.
They could have chosen different cards.
I think
the approach is good.
I think the ones they did choose were at least iconic. You know, like there's a lot of iconic spells in there.
Yeah, agreed.
It's just they don't impact our format.
Stone Rain does not impact the format. I agree.
The overwhelming majority of.
Yeah.
Right, but again,
that really disappointed me.
But again, the Mystical Archive is designed for the draft experience, so
yes.
For draft and historic.
Yeah.
So by design was not relevant to us, but it was a like tangential.
If you have a natural order kicking around out there, or let me know, and I'm looking for them. So
There you go.
Anyway, yeah, but yeah. So overall, I think Strixhaven good set. Yeah, good way to start. Good follow up to Call Time. You know, has its winners and losers.
Yep.
You know, not the perfect, but no set's gonna be perfect. But that's our take on the set.
Well, friends, we've reached the end. You've heard our takes. You know where you can find us. You can find us on Twitter at Draw for Turn and YouTube at Draw for Turn. We post weekly discussion topics, so drop us a follow, get into the conversation. Hit that like and subscribe button to our YouTube. Check out the amazing Commander gameplays that are coming up from some of our guests over the next few weeks. Some deck techs that are coming out too. We got a lot of content planned for the next pretty much 2 months. I think we're booked up for, which is great. But
we have 6 gameplay videos to be edited and 3 or 4 deck techs to get edited. So there's 10 videos that will be releasing over the course of the next month or so.
I think that's right.
I'm trying to do my hope is 1 gameplay video and 1 deck tech a week, and when we run out of deck techs, it'll be 2 gameplay videos.
There you go. Gonna be awesome.
We'll see how that works out and see how close we can keep to that. But we're really trying to get on the grind of YouTube, just because the response when it's good, it's been real good, and I want to keep riding that.
Yeah, people love the stuff that's been going on. All right, Adam, my friend, where can the fine people find you at?
On Twitter at DES_AdamN. I'm gonna give a special shout out actually to a not sponsored Card Kingdom today, because they had the 20 copies of Rat Colony I needed to buy. By the way, if you're looking in for Rat Colony on Card Kingdom, I'm sorry. I own them all now.
Adam is cornering the market on Rat Colonies. Be warned, be wary.
It was for a deck. It wasn't for finance, I promise.
MTG find its tin hat foil theory coming here. EK, what about you, my dude?
Same place as always, everywhere on the internet. Eddie K plays cards. And then shout out to my local game store, Games Plus, as always. And then my special shout out of the week is going to be Harry's House of Cards, aka Harry Sells Cards on Twitter, where I got an Expedition and a Masterpiece Lightning Greaves. But with the savings on the Expedition, the Lightning Greaves were free.
That is a bonus.
Yeah. So that's my deal of the week and my special shout out for deal finding. I think that's gonna be my shout out every week from now on, is like the cool deal from someone that I saw in the community.
Hey, I'm for it. Do it up. Friends, you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at AstralFlame. I'm always kicking around doing something with Magic. Friday nights we have our Commander Pods. Be sure to get on the action with that. Shout out to Harry Tarantula, Nextridge Games, and Untouchables for getting me some pretty sweet product that we've been cracking open. And yeah, I think with that, we're gonna go to, as always, everyone, remember to untap, upkeep, support your local game store, wear your mask, book your vaccination appointment. And did I miss anything?
No, just draw for turn.
There we go. Okay, yeah. And draw for turn.
Do the thing.